What's going on, Aurora Alliance, and welcome back to the brand new Death Star DLC official launch trailer. Now this is basically just a longer version of the trailer teaser that was released the other day by the Star Wars show. It doesn't show off too much more than the initial trailer teaser, but we do get to see everything that is going to be in the Death Star DLC pack and update actually feature in this trailer. There's no sort of things left out. Everything that we need to know is actually in there. I'll go ahead and analyze this trailer once it's actually played out, so you guys can get to see exactly what happens.
Get our droid out of there. Well done. Now head to the hangar.
Bosk, deal with the rebels.
Time to hunt. Get to the hangar now.
We're going in full throttle.
Leave them to me. You're nearly there.
We're running out of time.
Droid secured. I have you now.
So I'm going to start off with the initial trailer teaser that was released the other day. The brand new Rebel pilot skin. We get to see the Imperial officer skin again with his little grey cap on his head. And of course the Death Star Trooper. These are brilliant customization choices, and I'm really glad that we get all of these actually in the Death Star. Now the next part is a space battle, and this is probably going to be phase 1 of the new Battle Station game mode, where we have to take out specific parts of the Star Destroyer. If this is successful, then we get to move on to phase 2, where we have to save R2-D2 from the inside of the Death Star. The next clip, we get to see a female rebel soldier in the Tantive 4 or Rebel Marine skin. And then we get our first up close look at the Death Star Trooper skin, which looks absolutely amazing. The guy looks a bit old though, but the skin itself does look absolutely brilliant. Now we move on to the shot where we get to see the Rebel using the brand new blaster, and we get to see that the Rebel pilot outfit is actually usable with a variety of different heads or species or races. You can see on the left hand side of the shot that we get to see a Rodian actually wearing the Rebel pilot costume, which is just amazing to actually see. And it also looks like from this shot that the Stormtroopers actually have customizable pauldrons. I think we get to change the colours of them. And then again we see the Rebels using the new Tantive 4 or Rebel Marine skin, which I do actually think is going to be the default skin for the Death Star DLC pack. The soldier here does appear to be using the TL50 heavy repeater blaster, and also if you look at the bottom right of the screen in his star card hand, we can see the brand new laser trip mine. We don't know how that works yet, but it does feature later on in this trailer. We then get a few more shots of Imperials and Rebels pretty much battling with each other to try and rescue R2-D2, and then in this particular scene we get to see the brand new star card, the medical droid, which does actually help regenerate your star cards a bit faster and also heals any allies nearby. Now if you look to the left again, we get to see the Rebel Twi'lek using the TL50 heavy repeater, but this time it is using the charged shot ability for this particular blaster. Now this charged blast actually does deal out a concussion blast, which we get to see in a few seconds as well. It looks really cool, and it actually looks like the shot from this is going to be blue, which is going to be pretty cool to see considering the rest of the blasters shoot red. Then if we look in the background, we get to see a Quarren Rebel using what looks like the bow rifle. It looks a bit blurred, we can't really see exactly what it's like, but it is going to be in the Death Star update, I think, and I think it's also going to be free for everyone to actually use.
Out of there.
The footage then goes on to reveal the second new blaster in this DLC pack, which is the K16 Briar pistol. Now this blaster fires semi-automatic blasts, but it can also be charged up the same as the TL50 heavy repeater to deal out a pretty powerful blast. And then in the bottom right hand corner we can see this Rebel is using the medical droid star card, which I can't wait to actually use and see what it's actually going to be like. I imagine it can be destroyed, but we'll get to find out once this pack is out. The next shot we get to see our favourite droid R2-D2 actually shocking a stormtrooper with his shock attack ability, but it looks like it can't actually kill anyone, so you will need your Rebel Alliance teammates to come in and finish them off.
Well done. Now head to the hangar.
Bosk, deal with
In the next shot we get to see the first glimpse of Bosk in the Death Star DLC pack, where he charges at the camera. He's pretty terrifying. His voice isn't what I thought it was going to be, but it's still quite menacing, and it's going to be great to hear him roaming around the battlefield.
the rebels.
Time to hunt.
In this shot we get to see Bosk destroying a rebel trooper, and if you look in the bottom right corner again we get to see his abilities. His first ability is called Micro Grenades, and if you activate this ability, it allows Bosk to change his Relby V10 rifle into a micro grenade launcher. So he's not firing normal blaster bolts, but he's actually firing out a load of grenades, which is going to deal a lot of damage to rebels. The next ability is his Predatory Instincts, which will give Bosk heat vision, faster cooldowns, increased damage, and increased sprinting speed. His third ability is Toxic Escape, where Bosk throws down a Dioxis grenade, which is obviously more powerful than the standard Dioxis grenade in the game already. But not only that, he then leaps in the air out of the way of the grenade so it doesn't actually damage him, which I'm really interested to see how that's going to work. Then you will see his trait at the bottom of the screen, and now once that increases, it actually allows Bosk to regenerate health, which obviously makes him gain more health at each trait level. Then we finally get to see some R2-D2 gameplay, and again in the bottom right corner of the screen we get to see his abilities. One which looks like some sort of scan pulse, which will obviously highlight enemies in the nearby area. His second ability, which he's actually using right now, is some sort of smoke screen to hide the allies which are helping him escape the Death Star. And then the third ability, which we've seen earlier on, which is obviously some kind of shock ability, which doesn't actually kill stormtroopers by the looks of things, but just sort of incapacitates them for fellow rebels to finish them off. In this little clip we get to see Bosk using his heat vision to obviously see through R2-D2 smoke screen and destroy rebels. Then Chewbacca, the hero which everybody has wanted for a very long time, makes a dramatic entrance, which shows off his ground slam special ability, not only destroying one stormtrooper, but two. Then in this little clip we get to see Chewbacca actually using his bowcaster. Now it's firing 4 shots, which is interesting to see because his abilities do actually allow him to increase shots the more his trait kind of increases. This bowcaster is going to be a lot stronger than the one which is in the base game so far, so it's going to be very damaging to any stormtroopers who are getting close to him. Then in the bottom right corner again we get to see Chewbacca's abilities, which is why his firing 4 shots is his multi-bolt ability. This will actually double the amount of bolts he can normally fire. Now if you double that up with his trait, which allows him to fire more shots, I think the total amount of shots he could actually fire at once is about 8. Now that is going to be extremely lethal at close range. His second special ability is his Mighty Roar, which will give nearby teammates the level 3 Berserker effect and very high armor for a limited time. Then obviously Chewbacca does benefit from this himself. He gets a high damage and a high armor ability increase, and if you're a hero nearby Chewbacca you will only get the armor increase from that roar. The third and final ability is the one that we just seen before, which is his ground slam ability, which does look completely devastating. Then finally we see R2-D2 escaping behind the fellow rebels, and this is phase 2 of the Battle Station game mode. Then we move on to the trench run, which does look absolutely amazing. We get to see Luke Skywalker, Wedge and Biggs all enter the trench run, followed by what looks like a lot of TIE fighters. All of these characters are playable as well, so do keep that in mind. Not only Luke Skywalker is playable, there are 2 others. Then if you look in the top left hand corner, it looks like we have a new type of TIE fighter actually entering Star Wars Battlefront through this DLC. It is known as the TIE Defender. I'm not sure how this is going to work, whether it's going to be a vehicle pickup or a selectable vehicle for this particular phase, but we will find out soon enough. Then we get to see more TIE fighters actually move into position, led by Darth Vader in his TIE Advanced X1, as he tries to stop Luke Skywalker from actually destroying the Death Star.
You're nearly there.
The last part of the clip is the last thing I am actually going to mention, is R2-D2 leaving the Death Star as Luke Skywalker is actually going to try and blow it up. In this shot, we also see the brand new star card, the laser trip mine, in use, and it takes out the stormtrooper who is closest to R2-D2 to stop them from escaping. It looks like we are going to actually see this, so we're going to be aware that it's going to be there. We're not just going to run around the corner and be surprised by it. It does have a blue laser actually coming out of it. It looks like it's got a bit of a red reflection around where it actually is as well from the light that is on it. So at least we're going to be slightly aware of where it is, and like I said, we're not just going to be surprised, and it's going to blow us apart. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of this trailer, and smash a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to join the Axrora Alliance. We kept up to date with all things Star Wars. Other than that, may the Force be with you.